Hello everyone, welcome back to final part of What If Deku Had Chakra. Be sure to like, share, and check out the author Belinsky Simp as again they have some really good Naruto fanfics. The link will be in the description down below. And with that, let's begin. Chapter 44, Training for Pro. Third person POV. After the entire in the training camp, UA decided that it was better to transport Class 1A into dorm rooms to ensure their safety. The teachers took the permission of all students' parents, but once it was Izuku's turn, they didn't ask anyone as Toshinori and Inko already gave their consent. Class 1A went to the dorms and Shota explained that their bedrooms were on floors 2, 3, 4, and 5. Every student gets their own private bedroom, with each room having an AC unit, bathroom, refrigerator, and closet. Shota gave Class 1A a map of their room allocations and said that their luggage had already been sent into their allocated rooms. Shota ended his explanation by telling Class 1A to spend the rest of the day unpacking and organizing their rooms, and that the day after, he would explain the operations of their new lifestyle. The next day, Class 1A began their school life anew. In Class 1A's room, Shota mentioned that their first objective would be earning their Provisional Hero Licenses. The Provisional Hero Licenses grants you permission to intervene directly when people's lives are at stake, and the exam to obtain the Provisional Hero Licenses is less than 5%, explained Aizawa. As a preparation of this exam, every one of you should create 2 signature moves to use in combat, exclaimed their teacher. Ben, Midnight, Ectoplasm, and Cementos entered the classroom to explain the usage of those special signature moves. The function of any ultimate move is to provide an advantage to you in hopes of winning the battle. These techniques should be unique to each one of you, and they should push the limits of your quirk to exploit the aptitude of a fighting style, said Cementos. Ultimate moves do not have to be attacks. They simply must give you an advantage over your opponent, exclaimed Ectoplasm. An example of an ultimate move would be Tenya Ida's Recipro Burst technique or Kamui Wood's Lacquered Chain Prison, added Midnight. Ada was feeling proud about Midnight using him as an example while Izuku was looking at his hands wondering what kind of ultimate move he could come up with. Get into your hero costumes and follow me to Gym Gamma, ordered Aizawa. The students nodded their heads and went into the changing room where they got into their costumes, then headed towards the gym. At Gym Gamma, Cementos explained to Class 1 that the Gym Gamma was created by him, and using his quirk he could alter the gym to suit the needs of every student. Who are those moves necessary though? Asked Izumi. The Provisional Hero License exam is designed to test your aptitudes such as information gathering, judgment, mobility, leadership, and communication in various types of trouble. However, the attitude that is most prevalent is fighting ability, explained Ectoplasm. Bringing stability to a situation, which ultimate moves are capable of doing, is a mark of a hero's true fighting ability, added Cementos. The remaining 10 days you have of summer break before the second semester begins will be entirely spent on developing your quirks and creating your special moves. Also, you can do some upgrades to your costumes as it might help you in creating those moves, ordered Aizawa. Cementos prepared the terrain and Ectoplasm created clones of himself for Class 1 to spar against. Then the students began training. While all of Class 1 were training, Izuku was puzzled and confused as to what his special move should be. Guys, what kind of move should I work on? He questioned the people in his head. You can always train on learning Sage mode, the Rasen Shuriken, literally any Kekkei Genkai, any Chidori variant, any Hyuga fighting style, etc. You have a lot more, so just pick and we'll train you, said Boruto. Izuku sighed, Shin feeling like the blonde confused him even more than before, but he still was fascinated by some of the suggestions given to him. He smirked to himself before going to Aizawa. Mr. Aizawa, may I leave the gym? The training I need can't be done here, I need to be outside, he asked. Aizawa looked around him then sighed. Okay, sure, go ahead, but make sure that you're back at the dorms before midnight, said Aizawa. Izuku nodded before teleporting into his house. He sat down and started writing down what he wanted to do in those 10 days. He wanted to learn how to use Kaguya's 80 God Vacuum Attack, Sasuke's Chidori variants, the Otsutsuki's Hair Binding Technique, A's Lightning Release Chakra Mode, and Naruto's Mini-Tailed Beast Ball. Kid, do you really plan on training with all of those in 10 days? Questioned Tonri. Yeah, why wouldn't I? Shot back Izuku. Kid, those are some very powerful yet hard abilities. Do you really think that you can do it in a matter of 10 days? Asked Himura. Yes, I have 10 days, so I'll simply train the first 9 without sleep, then take a rest at the 10, answered Izuku. That's not healthy, but you do have enough inner chakra and stamina to do probably anything, so yeah, sure, why not? Said Naruto. Are we just going to ignore that he's trying to learn a jutsu used by literally Kaguya and the others Otsutsuki? Asked Sakura. What? Their powers are cool and useful. Why wouldn't I learn them? Said Izuku. Izuku, the 80 God Vacuum Fist is a jutsu used only by Kaguya. None of us knows how this jutsu works. The hair binding technique is used by Otsutsuki's only, we also don't know how it works, said Sasuke. Izuku sighed before teleporting into his mindscape. "It's simple, I can just do this," said Izuku. He snapped his fingers and a smoke appeared. Once the smoke cleared, everyone's eyes widened when they saw Kaguya standing in front of them. Izuku asked the Otsutsuki to train him, but he was rejected by her. She instead was wondering where she is and why the kid had more chakra than she had ever seen. When Izuku explained everything to her, she ended up training him, seeing as it was her only way of kind of staying in the real world instead of the afterlife. After those 10 days passed by with Izuku training more than ever before and mastering everything he wished of mastering, Izuku was ready to take down everyone in his way. Chapter 45, Yoshindu. Third-person POV. The remaining days of training came and went with Izuku training and mastering everything he needed while his classmates worked on their personal quirks. It was final at TGE day of the Provisional Hero License exam, and Class 1 arrived at the exam site, Takoba National Stadium. Most of Class 1 were nervous, but Aizawa encouraged them to do their best so that they can pass this exam and further their goal in becoming heroes. Class 1 huddled together to speak. Suddenly, a student with dark black hair interrupts their huddle, causing another student to tell him that it is rude to interrupt other people's huddles. Inasa expresses his apology to Class 1 with vigor and bowed to them while smashing his head into the ground and bleeding, much to some of Class 1A's shock. Izuku rushed towards him and held his head and bright green chakra Pethri on his hand. He healed the student's head in a matter of seconds, shocking the latter. "Thank you, Izuku-san," said the boy. "You're welcome, Mr. Shikzu High School student. How do you know my name?" asked Izuku. "Oh, the name is Inasayurashi. Also, are you kidding? You're Deku, one of the most known people in our entire country right now. How would I not know you? You fought in the Ush attack, won the UA festival, fought Stain and saved a lot of people and was trained by the Pro Hero Hawks. I'm biggest fan of you and your school, and I'm extremely honored to be able to compete against you," screamed the guy. "Oh, then I'm glad to meet you, Inasa-kun. I hope we have a fight," and the winner achieved his victory fair and square, said Izuku. He stuck his hand out and the guy shook it with too much joy and enthusiasm before excusing himself and going back to his classmate. As the other students of Shikzu High and Inasa left, Shota told Class 1 that the energetic student's name is Inasayurashi and stated that he is a powerful contender at UA's entrance exam. The same year Class 1 took it, Inasa received the second top score after Izuku and passed. However, despite receiving the top score, Inasa declined his admission offer. Izuku was surprised with Inasa's prowess and thought that he might be a great match and rival for him. Siro was confused as to why Inasa would refuse enrollment into UA. Even though he admired the school, Shota replied that while Inasa can be awkward, his strength is great and warned Class 1 to be careful. Suddenly, a female teacher approached Aizawa and stated that it had been a long time since they have seen each other. Although Aizawa was indifferent, the female began joking around with Shota while the erasing hero was unamused by her sense of humor. Izuku immediately recognized the teacher as the smile hero Ms. Joke. Siyu commented on Shota's and Ms. Joke's closeness, causing Ms. Joke to reply that their workplaces were close to each other and helped each other whenever they had trouble, which is why she and Shota know each other very well. However, Shota denied the part about them being lovers. Then, Ms. Joke revealed that she's a teacher from Ketsubutsu Academy High School, and she teaches Class 2. Said class came towards Class 1 and a guy with dark black hair and similar eyes immediately rushed towards Izuku holding his hands. "Hello, I'm Shindo. I heard UA has had a lot of trouble this year. It must have been tough for you, but still you guys are aiming to become pro heroes. It's wonderful. You're Izuku Yagi, hero named Deku. I've seen everything you're in. You truly are going to be the greatest hero of our time. I really like how you know exactly how and when to use your quirk and also how you can analyze stuff quickly from what I've seen," rambled the guy. "Hey Shindo-kun, nice to meet you. I'm glad you think so highly of me. I hope I get to see what you also are capable of," said Izuku, matching the guy's enthusiasm. Everyone of Class 1A was looking at Izuku with either pride seeing their classmate being recognized or with jealousy, as he was the center of attention of all the other schools and students. "Enough talking and waiting time. Get into your hero costumes and head into orientation," ordered Shota. "Oh, see you later, Shindu-kun. I hope you put up a good fight," said Izuku while following his classmates that walked after Aizawa. Inside Takoba National Stadium, Yokimaru Mira of the Hero Public Safety Commission, a sleep-deprived man, introduced himself and that he'd be the one explaining the Provisional Hero License exam. Yokimaru told the 1540 examinees that only 100 of them would participate in the actual Provisional Hero License exam. Much to their frustration, Yokimaru informed them that they would first compete in the first exam to determine the 100 examinees that would compete in the Provisional Hero License exam. The objective of the first exam was to test the examinee's speed, which is required in heroics. Yokimaru explained the preliminary round. Every examinee would take 3 targets and paste them somewhere on their bodies where others can see, except their feet and armpits. Each examinee would be given 6 balls which would be used to hit the targets. The target would light up when it is hit by a ball, and once the third target is lit up, that examinee is considered as lost and disqualified. Whoever lights up the third target would be considered as the person who took down the other person and that they needed to take down 2 people. Yokimaru told the examinees that they would give them the targets and the balls a minute after the preliminary round begins. The place the examinees were in opened up and revealed that they were inside Takoba National Stadium surrounded by a huge varied terrain. Izuku ordered everyone to stick together, but most of them didn't listen and decided to go on their own. Seeing their classmates doing that, the rest followed suit, leaving Izuku alone. "You all are dumb as hell, our quirks are known to the public," said Izuku to himself. Chapter 46, How Cute, Third-Person POV. After all of his class went in separate directions, Izuku started looking for targets to take down, knowing that most of his classmates are able of winning in their own. Izuku was then ambushed by a number of students trying to take him down as fast as possible. Between the students was Shindo and his classmates. "Looks like you couldn't analyze this battle, Izuku-kun. Your classmates went on their own and you couldn't stick together, making you all easy targets," said Shindo with a smirk. "Oh, actually I did warn them, but my classmates decided to follow their personal ways instead of following my orders. Now how about we play a little?" said Izuku. All of the students threw the balls at him, considering him looking down on them. Izuku smiled before twirling around, causing a wind shockwave, throwing away all of the balls. "Did you really think that you'd win this easily?" "How cute," asked Izuku. Shindo wasn't surprised that Izuku wasn't affected by an ambush of that scale. His classmate Shikui Makabe used his stiffening quirk to harden his projectiles and gave them to Ichiro Toki. Ichiro used his boomerang quirk to lock onto Class 1 and used his super move, Trajectory, Crescent Moon, to throw the hardened balls underground. Ichiro expected to take Izuku by surprise because he threw the balls underground. Izuku smiled before floating, which confused the rest. "The last time you saw me really using my powers was during the festival. I don't think you knew that I can fly, did you?" asked Izuku. The students all seemed to glare at him and started to attack him. Izuku raised his hand and used 2 truth-seeking orbs to cut down all of the balls. Shindo looked fascinated by the hero in training's power, but he decided to use his quirk to try and take him down. Izuku saw the earth below him getting shattered below his feet, but none of the boulders bade reached him, much to Shindo's disappointment. "Well, as much as I'd like to keep playing around with you guys, I want to win this and get finished with this annoying test," said Izuku. "What does that mean?" questioned Shindo. "Look around you, count your classmates, Shindo-kun," ordered Izuku. Shindo did that and found 2 of his classmates missing. Izuku smiled before kicking away a rock. Behind said rock were 2 students stuck to the ground with 2 clones of Izuku already having them tagged. "I've already won," said Izuku. The students' eyes widened as they wondered when that happened. "You all probably don't know who you're fighting against, so I'll tell you. I, Izuku Yagi, fought and won against All Might a few weeks ago. And I did it without a scratch, so if none of you had anything close to matching All Might, I'm not interested in fighting you," said Izuku. Everyone's eyes widened as they stood still, looking at the teen with fear. "You defeated All Might?" questioned Shindo with fear in his eyes. "Oh, of course, Shindo-kun. I have video proof. I'd gladly give it to you after we both graduate this exam," said Izuku. Shindo was taken back by what Izuku said. Both meant that Keisuke believed that he can pass the exam too. Izuku went back, flying in the air as high as possible so he doesn't have to deal with anyone. "If any of my classmates deserve to become heroes, they should be able to do this on their own. You can't always rely on someone else," thought Izuku to himself. Izuku was the first to pass and go to the end. A bunch of other students followed suit. Katsuki, Ijiro, Denki, and Izumi also passed, which turned the total number of people passed to 82. Denki spotted Izuku, Ochako, and Shiro. He went to greet them and congratulated them on passing. As Hanta and Ochako praised Denki and Ijiro for passing, Shoto asked Izuku if he passed, to which Izuku told him that he did pass the first. The exam finished, and Izuku was really glad to find out that all of his classmates have passed, even though some did it in the last few seconds. Yokimaru asked the 100 winning examinees who passed to look at the screen, which showed the battlefield. The entire battlefield the examinees were competing on crumbled. All the buildings were destroyed, which caused the battlefield to become a disaster site, shocking some of Class 1A. Yokimaru told the 100 examinees that the destroyed battlefield, which had become a disaster site, would be their next and last stage for the Provisional Hero License exam. On that disaster site, the 100 examinees would be conducting rescue maneuvers. Yokimaru announced to the examinees that they would be conducting rescue maneuvers and saving citizens at the disaster site. What would be tested is the examinees' ability to adequately carry out rescue operations. However, the citizens ordinary. They were senior citizens and children who had obtained provisional hero licenses and had gone through all sorts of training, and as a result they were experts in rescue maneuvers. Yokimaru explained that the senior citizens were disguised as injured victims and were scattered throughout the disaster site. The examinees will carry out their rescues. Yokimaru informed the examinees that their rescue activities would be scored on a point system. By the time the rescue activities were completed, examinees who exceed the average value would pass. Yokimaru ended his explanation by telling the examinees that there will be a 10-minute break, which will give the examinees the time to prepare. 10 minutes passed while Izuku was meditating and trying to calm down his emotions. The second exam of the Provisional Hero License exam began. Until the emergency unit arrives, all rescue activities would be left to the heroes and they must save every life they can. The waiting room door opened up and the 100 examinees rushed out to the disaster site to carry out their rescue operation. Izuku smirked and created about 30 clones that he scattered all around the area to save all of the people he could. He also made sure that he treated every victim like any true hero would by checking on them instead of just saving them. Chapter 47, A Hero. Third-person POV. Izuku alongside the other students saved nearly everyone in the area until they heard the ground shaking. The cause behind that was revealed to be Gang Orca, the hero residing in the 11th spot between heroes. He was backed by a dozen enemy grunts. A broadcast was given to the examinees. Villains have appeared and the heroes must suppress them as well as continue carrying out the rescue maneuvers. So heroes, what will you do? Fight or save the people? Face me or run away? Questioned the hero. Izuku smiled beneath his breath, knowing that it was his time to shine once again. Fellow heroes, go save the civilians, I will take care about this sinister villain, said Izuku, completely embodying an old hero with a corny speech. That sounds corny as hell, but whatever, go and leave him to be, said Izuku. The students seemed to want to argue, but knowing that he was easily the strongest between everyone in the area, they followed his orders and went to rescue the civilians while the grunts followed them, keeping Gang Orca on his own to Izuku. You are all mine. You can't touch any of the students around here except me, said Izuku. Oh, and how is that, hero? Asked Orca. Izuku smirked before creating 3 clones that stood on each side of the hero. Izuku alongside his 3 clones erected a solid barrier of a purple color blocking everyone from him and Orca. Let's dance, villain, said Izuku. The hero rushed at him trying to hit him and take him down, but Izuku dodged it easily. He decided to take the hero as fast as possible, not wanting to waste his time on that while he could save the civilians instead. He focused his chakra in his hands and 2 purple chakra arms appeared. He rushed in front of the hero in an instant. The hero couldn't even see him. Instead, he was punched back by the chakra arms. He hit the wall and felt his body burning, which confused him and caused him to scream in pain. This barrier is made out of flames. You can't put them out until I order them to be put out, he explained. Orca didn't seem to say anything, only feeling the fire taking over his body. Give up, villain, and order your minions to give up and surrender themselves, ordered Izuku. The hero seemed to be done with all the pain. He raised his hands in surrender and all of the minions stopped moving. Izuku smirked before creating a chakra handcuff and stopping the hero. Everyone in the arena seemed confused and shocked with how fast the teen took down a hero in the top spots. A few seconds later, the exam was done and the students were ordered to wait for the results to come out so they'd learn who got the license. After the examinees had their injuries attended to and changed back into their school uniforms, they gathered in front of a screen. Yokimaru thanked the examinees for their hard work and said that he was going to present the results. Before he did so, Yokimaru explained that the HUC members and his fellow colleagues from headquarters examined both the quality and nature of their conduct in situations of crisis. Yokimaru told the examinees that the names of those who passed would be displayed on the screen behind him in alphabetical order. Izuku looked for his name, but to his shock he couldn't find his name nor Izumi and Bakugo's. Everyone in Class 1 had passed, except for Katsuki, Izumi, and Izuku. While most of Class 1 celebrated, Katsuki and Uzmu were angry that they didn't pass and Shoto remained silent, still unaware what he did wrong. Yokimaru distributed out sheets to the examinees that had details of their performance in the exam and their scores. A point reduction system was used to tally their scores, and with the ones that got below 50 points were considered failures. Yokimaru congratulates those who had passed and would obtain their provisional hero licenses immediately. Yokimaru stated that they now had authority equal to that of heroes and will be able to stop villains and rescue civilians at their own discretion. Izuku felt shattered looking at his sheet. He got a 100 point. He didn't lose any, so why wasn't he given the license? The class left the school each happy about their passing while Izuku was walking with obvious visible disappointment. His classmates didn't seem to notice as the Mai were busy with their personal passing. Once they reached the bus, Izuku saw Shindu and Miss Joke alongside their class rushing towards them. Izuku-kun, we passed together, what do you plan on doing now? Spoke Shindu, sticking out his fist. Izuku looked at him and some tears were about to slip out of his eyes. Not because he didn't pass, but because it was completely unfair as he didn't do anything wrong. We didn't pass, Shindu-kun. You did, said Izuku. Shindu's eyes widened as he heard what the younger guy said. What do you mean? You made a perfect plan to take down both us and the villains, not to mention you saved more civilians than anyone did. Wondered Shindu. I'm aware, but I still didn't get the license for some reason. I didn't even lose a point yet I still didn't pass, exclaimed Izuku. His class heard that and they all froze in shock just like Shindu did. The latter couldn't do anything but hug his recently made friend. Izuku hugged him back, then let go before and smiled at him. "How about we stop those tears now?" said Aizawa, walking towards the two. "You didn't take this license, but it's not like it's useful compared to what you have gotten," said Aizawa. "What I have gotten? I got nothing but disappointment, Uncle Shota. I failed miserably," mumbled back Izuku. "If so, then I guess this is nothing," said Aizawa, tossing him a card. Izuku held it in his hand and felt confusion as he saw the words International Hero License written on it. In said card was his name alongside a number of personal information. "Welcome, hero," said Miss Joke. Chapter 48, The Choice, Third Person POV. Izuku looked at her with wide eyes while the rest of the student states crowding the place trying to see what was happening. "I'm confused. What in the world does this mean?" questioned Izuku. "It's a hero license. Your hero license. All of the heroes in our country alongside a number of other countries have been checking your growth. We all have seen how powerful you are and how much of a heroic spirit you have inside of you. You have done everything a hero should do, and you did it perfectly so with the Pro Hero Association by your side. You have officially become a pro hero," said Aizawa. Izuku froze in his place trying to take everything in. He looked at his card, then back at Aizawa, and saw the look of pride in his eyes. "Thank you" was all he could say. "You don't have to thank anyone, just show the entire country how great of a hero you are," said Aizawa. Izuku hugged him and nodded his head. Everyone around them was cheering for him and congratulating him for what he has achieved. Soon the news were spread all throughout the country. Deku became the name of a hero that the entire world could rely on. And with that, I'll see you all in the next series. For those who are interested, we have a Discord down below. Be sure to aim for the stars, drink plenty of water, and for us to cause chaos. With that, take care until next we see each other again.